Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to this week's Golden Wind Geekout. I'm your host, Danny. Got my co-host, Ryan, with me.
Hey, how's it going?
And we're here to talk about episode 26, A Little Story from the Past. My name is Doppio. My God, that is such a fucking mouthful.
Yeah.
Really, it's like, that is a mouthful of a fucking title.
Yeah, I know. Okay, you know what? From this point forward, we'll just name it episode 26, Doppio. Period.
Yeah, episode Doppio. That's just what we're calling it.
Yeah, episode Doppio.
Alrighty, but oh man, a lot to talk about here.
Oh, yo.
Okay, so for starters, the very beginning of this episode. So this is the backstory, and in the manga, we didn't get this backstory until like way later. Like when we're getting closer to like the final confrontation is when we got the backstory. So you want to talk about, I think it's like 2 volumes from now is when we had this backstory dropped on us. So they really pushed it up.
Yeah, like they pushed this backstory like way back in the anime adaptation of Golden Wind.
Yeah. So it's like, yeah, so, for the most part, this is a backstory where, it is, it does stay true to the manga, but it actually does, add a couple of extra little things here. Like, well, for starters, the little detail, it's like a blink and you'll miss it. But, right when you see that the little baby is born, you see, like, the kid, like, he blinks his eyes, and you actually see, like, the colors shift. Like, the eyes go from, like, brown to red, and then back to brown. So it's like, that was a nice little touch, considering, what the fuck is going on with this guy. So then we actually move into, what you call it? The part where, okay, he's a young man. We see that a priest took care of the kid, because his mom's in jail. She can't take care of the kid. So, priest is going to take care of the baby. And we get this little interaction of him actually meeting up with Trish's mother, Donatella. That is new. That was never brought up in the manga whatsoever. So I was like, that was a nice little addition, So we saw, like, how they met. We even see how Donatella even asked, like, hey, I would like some, like, water, only French-made mineral water, please. That's the exact same demand that Trish made during her introduction. So it's like, oh, yeah, this is Trish's mom, all right. It's been a while since I've done one of these post-recording interruptions, but out of morbid curiosity, I just wanted to know, when exactly was Trish's birthday? So I took a quick look on the JoJo Wiki, and according to the Wiki, her birthday is June 8th, 1985. According to the anime, Donatella met Doppio in June of 1985. So are you telling me the same thing happened to Donatella? Like what happened to Doppio's mom? Where, like, she becomes pregnant out of the blue, grows into the full 9-month term, and gave birth to him overnight? The same thing happened here. Like, these two went on a couple of dates, maybe had a fling, and overnight, Donatella becomes pregnant and just gives birth to Trish right then and there on the spot. It's like, God damn it, Doppio, what kind of super devil sperm do you have? So we see that, then we see there's the brief little moment where, he actually goes and takes the picture, that, we're basically hunting down now. So we see, that, and that's about as much as we actually see out of this relationship. That's where I was like, I was actually kind of surprised that we didn't actually get to see more. I mean, considering the fact that, Trish had to come from somewhere, so it's like, yeah, was this just like a one-night stand, or like, was this a genuine romance? They never really touched into that.
It's like, all right, before we started recording this, I was telling Danny on how my curiosity like has sparked again. Like, if only because it's like, yeah, they pushed this backstory like way back, so, as opposed to like saving it until like near the end of like this entire part. And so I'm thinking, okay, there has to be some kind of a reason why they did that. So now that you bring that up, Danny, I'm just thinking now. Like, I could be wrong. I mean, it's a hit or a miss kind of deal from my perspective. But I don't know. It's like maybe like kind of like how they handle like some form of backstory like within the manga or whatever. I don't know. Maybe they'll pretty much do the same thing when we get to that point in the anime adaptation. But when they do bring up like another initial backstory of any kind, it for all I mean, maybe David Productions will sneak a fast one on us, and maybe like a sneaking like how like what happened, like sometime after Doppio and Donatella, met, like what happened with the two of them or something like that.
Something. But yeah, but pretty much after that, the remainder of this backstory is pretty much accurate to the manga.
Wait a minute. Hold on. Wasn't there like another piece of a backstory that was relatively new that wasn't shown in the manga? Like when the priest was picking at his house or whatever. What was it?
No, that was shown in the manga. Like we see.
Oh, was it? God damn.
Yeah, we see the priest. Because the priest sees that. He's like, oh, hey. My son is on a date, he's becoming a young man and everything. And he wanted to get him a car. And, that's when he decided, okay, if I'm gonna, work to give, this boy a car, then he needs a garage. And, he was, when he was digging to, try and set this up for him, that was when he found the mother's body with like her mouth sewn shut and she's still alive. That's in the manga.
Oh, damn it!
That moment was in the manga. Oh. And now in the panels, you see that happened, and then literally the next panel you see is, okay, the village was set on fire and everybody died, including the priest and this boy. Obviously, that's, fucking lie. But, creepy moment, though, with him with the pickaxe. Like, you see that, the priest, he's found the woman, he's found, like, strands of his hair, and, like, he just looks back and he sees him with the pickaxe, like, ready to frickin' strike. Like, that was new.
Oh, okay, all right, because, I mean, I must have completely forgotten that happened when we read the initial manga, because even I do remember that. I thought that was another piece of new content, because we were watching the initial episode, and I'm like, okay, I'm sorry?
That is still very true to the manga.
Oh, okay.
So now it's like, so now we can talk about Vinegar Doppio here. And actually, even before we even get into the episode, like further along into like what he does in the episode itself, we might as well talk about like, some of the fan theories and shit and how David Production chose to approach this. So, well, for starters, for you anime-only watchers, as like, I bet you were not expecting that the main villain of our next JoJo part is a guy suffering from multiple personality disorder.
Surprise!
I bet you were not expecting that whatsoever. I mean, it's like, we had vampires, we've had immortal pillarmen, and we've had, a hand fetish serial killer. Now we have a man with multiple personality disorder that owns the mafia.
Yeah.
So yeah, this is cracktastic. But,
that's so good.
But when it comes to Doppio and the boss, one of the things I've noticed with fans is that there has been a really, pretty contentious debate about who is the main personality and who was the personality that was created. Because that's usually what tends to happen when people suffer from multiple personality disorder. Like usually, like you have like, you know, you've got like your base person, but something happens to them. They go through some kind of a trauma, and you know, it impacts them so severely that a new personality basically is created to help deal with the trauma. You know, that's usually how this works, at least according to a bunch of like medical studies and shit. So this has led people to debate, you know, well, okay, who's the original and who was the creation? You know, was Doppio the original person? And, you know, pretty much after, you know, finding his mother who was in prison or whatever, and shocked him so much because now he realizes that he's adopted and all this shit, that like it fucked him up so much that he created the boss personality as a means of protection. Or was the boss the dominant personality all along, and he created Doppio for a cover? So it's like a lot of people have been debating about that, and you know, that was actually something I was really curious about. Is okay, how is David Production going to handle that? Are they going to give us any kind of a clear answer here? And I don't even know, because again, that brief moment where you see that the baby is born, so you see that yes, the baby's got Doppio's eyes, but when he blinked, the eyes changed. And that is your surefire way to know, okay, who is in control right now. If it's the brown eyes, it's Doppio. But if it's the different colored eyes, then it's the boss. But now it's like, so wait a minute, the boss has been in existence since birth? So it's like, God damn it, man! It's like, you just made this even more complicated than it had to be.
Yeah.
Never mind the fact that it's like, okay, you know, yeah, his mom was apparently pregnant for 2 years or something, and, you know, now decided to give birth. I was like, I get the idea they're trying to do, like, the whole thing, like, you know, yeah, Diavolo is such a fucking anomaly and everything that there's just no way. Like, yeah, I mean, not an actual birth or anything. Like, they tried to, like, you know, play that up. But it's, like, at the same time, it's just one of those things, like, so the two personalities were born that way? It wasn't like, you know, okay, you had one personality, but something happened that tore the personality into two. Which, spoiler, that's practically what the manga was implying. Like, even, like, later on, like, there's confirmation, like, another character who, you know, will be coming in way, way later, explains how usually, like, when someone undergoes some kind of severe trauma that they can't handle, it's basically, like, splitting their soul in two. And that's why you have, like, two personalities in one body. So it's like, so they were saying that was the case all throughout the story, but now the anime is saying that's not the case. So it's like, God damn it, David Production, you just had to make this more complicated.
Oh man, I know.
It's like you couldn't just give us the straight answer, you know? Like, you couldn't just say one was born and the other came here. You just couldn't do that, could you?
They just had to emphasize that Doppio was one very difficult person to read.
Right. Like, you know, I was in the camp that Doppio was the original personality and he created the boss as a means for protection. Like, I fall into that side of the argument, but it's like, God damn it, man, now I don't even know.
I don't even know what to believe in anymore. Damn it, Doppio.
Oh, God damn it, man. So, yeah, that's like, yeah, I know, like a little bit of a tirade here, but that was a major fan thing that a lot of people have been trying to figure out about this character. And it's like, okay, we're thinking here's going to be the opportunity that we can finally get some answers, and all we got was more questions.
Well, I don't even know.
Yeah, okay. But yeah, suffice it to say, so yeah, now we can actually talk about the episode itself, as well as gush a little bit more about Doppio, because God damn it, man, I fucking love Doppio. I mean, it's like, I know it's kind of hard to really talk about one character without talking about the other, because we are dealing with split personalities after all, but honestly, like, having read the manga and everything, that's why I'm just like, honestly, I prefer Doppio. Like, between the boss and Doppio, I love Doppio more.
Oh my god, for Doppio being like part of like the whole multiple personality issue or whatever, it's like for Doppio being another personality of sorts, whether he was just some personality made up on the fly or whatever, or if Doppio was the original like from the beginning, like whatever side of the argument you want to go on, regardless of such. I too love Doppio and how they handled how David Productions handled Doppio like so goddamn well from beginning to end of this episode.
Yeah. Okay, speaking of which, so I just double checked on the JoJo Wiki, because one thing I know we brought this up when the boss was initially introduced, that we were wondering, okay, given this character, you know, are they going to have two different voice actors, or is it going to be the same voice actor but doing two different voices? And it looks like from what I'm seeing online, it looks like two different voice actors.
Yeah, I had a feeling like Doppio's voice actor like seemed like way too different for, you know, for it to be the same person who voices the boss.
Right. So Doppio's voice actor, his name is Soma Saito.
Saito.
And let me see. Looks like as far as like TV anime, he started in 2011, so kind of new. I'm taking a look briefly on my phone just to see. It looks like he played like a lot of like side characters. But I'm looking to see if he has anything familiar. Because it's like, there's a lot of things, like I see, like, you know, okay, he's been in some of the Pokemon animes, but he's like, you know, they got him listed as like assistant or citizen or something. So it's like, okay, so you're a background character.
A few moments later.
Motherfucker, I don't know what else this guy's been in. Okay, so fuck it, new guy for me. Yeah, so I mean, it's like all those fails. It's like, you know, I don't know, do a wiki search and take a look and see, like, you know, okay, do you recognize anything that this guy's been in? Because I sure as hell don't.
Right. Oh well. Regardless of such, it's like my god, like whoever this voice actor may be, whatever other roles this guy has done in the past, it's like my god, oh man. The voice performance for Doppio was just phenomenal.
Oh my god, he is knocking Doppio out of the park. I mean, it's like, you know, he's got like, you know, whenever he like, you know, screams and cries and acts cowardly, because, you know, that is Doppio, you know, it's like he's definitely got that down, you know. When he switches over into the boss, like he can hear like the voice changing. Like, he goes from, like, really timid and cowardly, then you hear, again, where he starts screaming off the top of his lungs, and then it'll be, like, literally, like, the next line, like, the voices switch over. So, I mean, it's like, you know, they're doing a really good job there. And then, of course, there's his trademark, phone call sounds that he literally makes.
Oh my god, yeah, the acting scared, like, a cowardly part is one thing, but then when he tries to find a freaking phone.
Oh god, that's why it's like, I love that. It's like, you know, again, that's another random little quirk that so many people love about this character. It's like, you know, yeah, just the whole phone call thing. You know, just... Yeah, you know, if the boss needs to talk to him, like, he literally does the phone sound, like, himself, and will grab, like, whatever nearby object that may happen to, like, look like a phone or can pass as one, and boom, he just grabs and just starts talking to him. I mean, yeah, this is like fucking Gollum out of Lord of the Rings.
We mustn't kill him. No, we must. No, we mustn't.
It's like, pretty much. Like, because I was always under the impression that the boss's voice was in his head. And, Doppio is, Doppio is clearly speaking, but the boss's voice is in his head because it's like, okay, he's hearing it through a phone.
Yeah.
But apparently not.
Yeah, it's so crazy, too, because, I was thinking the exact same thing whenever we were initially reading the manga together. But it's like, we see Doppio's mouth moving at times when we hear the boss's voice, like being spoken or whatever. I'm like, oh, shit. All right. Okay, I can get behind that.
All right. So I guess now with that said, now let's get to the moment that everybody was like on pins and needles, quite literally, what we were waiting for. He just grabbed his throat. Like,
yeah.
Moment of truth.
Oh no, that's uncensored! That's uncensored!
I'm so fucking happy!
Ah!
Oh my god, this is what I was waiting for!
Yes! Yes, yeah, and no. Oh! Oh! Oh my god! Yo! Ah!
Oh my god, yes! It's not a censored fight! Thank you, God! Yep, the next fight, Risotto Nero versus Doppio / the boss. And, as I've been saying, I was so worried that this fight was going to be really censored. And to my surprise, it's not. We get to see everything in its bloody glory, and I am so fucking happy.
Oh yeah, I mean, it's like I was happy too, but at the same time, I was okay. I know I saw. Even though we saw this coming, I still wasn't entirely ready. But at the same time, oh my god, it was glorious. Yes, with the puking of the blood and the razor blades, and then the
needles coming out of his face.
Oh, the needles.
Oh god, yeah. It's like that's just a small taste of what's to come for this fight. It's like already. But yes, it's like, oh my god, I was so worried, like, okay, his mouth is probably gonna get, blackened out or something. Or like when the pins and all the needles start coming out of his face, like, his entire face is gonna be in shadow. But no shadows whatsoever. They're actually letting us see everything. Thank fucking Christ.
Yeah, I am so glad that they did that, because I'm fairly certain we talked about this like during the last part or at one of the point throughout the series of like a Golden Wind Geekouts. But it's like, if they went so far as to censor even just that one moment near the end of this episode, then the impact would just be gone.
Yeah.
And it would be even worse for the anime-only watchers, because if that was censored, they wouldn't know what to expect. They don't know why his face was being all censored, or what the hell he was vomiting out, or whatever. It would just be like, okay, so they're the play of Jotaro smoking a cigarette kind of shit. Oh, okay.
Right. And yeah, so it's like okay, so yeah, like the way I see it, and it's like, I'm sure like, everyone who's read the manga can pretty much agree that it's like, when it comes to this fight, the reason why, because last week I'd said that the grotesque violence was absolutely needed for this fight, and I was like, yes, we should be allowed to see this uncensored, and it is for 3 reasons, really. Well, one, just because it's a kick-ass fight. Yes. I'm not gonna lie. This is a very kick-ass fight. It's another big fan favorite. It's right up there with, like, say, like a Mr. and Giorno versus Gacho. You got the train fight. There's another fight that I think it's actually the next fight after this one is another really big fan favorite fight. So it's like, to get a fight that is that well known, of course I want to see it, as it's fully intended. So,
right.
yeah, of course. The second reason is, it really like recontextualizes the strength of La Squadra. Because you gotta remember, Risotto Nero, he's the only one left. He's the leader of La Squadra. And if this is the kind of shit that he is capable of, then it's like, yeah, that kind of makes you think back to every other member of La Squadra that we had seen up until this point. I mean, yeah, we were seeing, the boys struggling going up against La Squadra. But it's like, yeah, this is their leader. This guy that, I might as well just say, like, what the hell the ability is and stuff, because we kind of got a glimpse of it. So, like, Risotto Nero's stand is known as Metallica. And literally, it basically manipulates metal. So he can use it to, like, create, like, metals from, like, the earth. Or he can literally take, like, the iron in your blood and literally transform it into metal objects. So this is why Doppio, you see he's throwing up the razors and you see the needles coming out of his face. That's the effect of Metallica. And there is still more to the ability and shit, but, we'll see more of that in the next episode, but it's very, very gruesome, very deadly. And it's like, when you take that into account and see that, yes, this is the leader. This guy is, like, so powerful and, like, utterly fucking broken when it comes to stand abilities. And, look at the men that, were following him. And it's like, it kind of makes you really appreciate the rest of La Squadra. Because it's like, these guys were ridiculously fucking strong. So it's like, that's another reason why I was like, please do not censor this, just because it's like, we need to see everything glorious about La Squadra.
Everyone needs to know exactly what Risotto's stand ability is capable of doing.
Right. And then the third reason is, like, because up until this point, what we've known about the boss really has been, okay, his identity's been kept secret, and we know King Crimson is fucking broken. I mean, like, they're always saying, the boss is invincible. And apparently the only way that we can possibly kill the boss is if we discover his identity. Well, here comes Risotto Nero saying, oh, yeah, you could do that, but, or we can just do things my way, and, oh, look at that. You're not invincible. You're not indestructible. You're just as mortal as everybody else. So it's like, good to know.
It's like, oh, that's just great.
Yeah, it's like, again, we're not dealing with an immortal vampire. We're not dealing with, like, ultimate life form pillar men or anything, no. Even with a busted stand, Doppio is still very much mortal.
He is still very much human.
Yes, and, like, Risotto Nero kind of has to show us this.
Yeah.
So it's like, and that's where it's like, it's just so fucking crazy that it's like, when you take those three things into account, and it's like, honestly, it's like, again, if this had been censored, all of this would have been lost, I think.
Yeah, my thoughts exactly. Yeah, again, the impact would have been gone, like, even with just the very beginning of the fight, the impact would already be gone, because at that point, it's like, oh, if they're censoring this part, oh, they would definitely censor, like, pretty much the remainder of the fight. So it was like, oh, good to know that pretty much the entire fight is gonna be nothing but Black Shadow. Okay, that's cool. And on top of that, people won't get a really good idea on what Risotto's stand is capable of, especially for the anime-only watchers. And yeah, it would just be a complete total letdown of a fan-favorite fight overall.
Yeah. Oh, man. So as far as, like, I'm just so happy about that censorship is, non-existent. So it's like, oh, man, that's like, that puts my mind at so much ease right now. But I think suffice it to say that it's like, I mean, once we're out of this fight, I mean, that's pretty much, like I said, this is the most gory fight in all of Part 5. Hell, it's the most gory fight in all of JoJo. Like, no other stand fight in Stone Ocean, Steel Ball Run, or JoJolion, for that matter, comes remotely close to the gruesomeness of Metallica fight here. So that's where it's like, so once we get through this fight, we'll be in the clear. There should be no other reason why we would ever anticipate any more censorship throughout the rest of this part once we get past this fight.
Yeah, pretty much.
So yeah, so it's like, pretty much, it's still pretty much beat for beat, and then of course they have to end it on the cliffhanger, where they have to bring in, they're bringing in, like, the Substand. So, you know how, like, with, Killer Queen in, Diamond is Unbreakable. So you know how we've had several Substands. Like, we had, like, Sheer Heart Attack. That was, like, a Substand part of, Killer Queen, where it's a remote bomb. And then, when Kira got hit again with the arrow, we got the, Bites the Dust ability. So it's, like, pretty much same thing here. So that weird little thing, that weird little face that shows up on Doppio's head that was a part of King Crimson, that is the Substand.
Yes, so, the epitaph.
Yeah, so, yeah, but in the I know, okay, again, in the Japanese, it's known as epitaph. And Epitaph is a song by King Crimson. So again, keeping with the theme here.
Yes.
I am aware, though, that I believe in Eyes of Heaven, from what I saw, Epitaph also got a name change. So it's like they didn't keep it, so it wasn't kept as Epitaph. I think they called it Eulogy.
So
well, it's like,
I honestly don't remember that. I'll have to look into that.
I think that is the case, because I think it's like, yeah, when you play as the boss, and I think it's like, yeah, like he's got like counter moves and shit that use Epitaph,
right?
So I think that's where I think that was where I heard that, because I was like, again, I played Eyes of Heaven, before I completely caught up with the manga, so I heard Eulogy, but I heard Epitaph come out, so I was like, oh, okay, so that's the name change. So suffice it to say, we've got that, and then I guess for the title, we completely forgot to try and predict what Metallica's stand name was going to change into. We completely forgot to do that last week.
Yeah.
But no need, because the episode title for next week, so Metallica became Metallic.
They literally just took out the A at the end of Metallica, and apparently that went through the copyright censors or whatever.
That avoids the copyright. So that's where it's like, okay, so are you seriously telling me that, instead of having fucking Zipperman for Bruno's stand, we could have had, like, just take Sticky Fingers, take off the last S, and just call it Sticky Finger, and that could bypass the copyright? Are you telling me we could have had that and not Zipperman? Or we could have done like, or we could have taken like Aerosmith, take out the O, just call it like Airsmith or something.
I was just thinking the same thing.
Are you seriously telling me we could have done this?
I was just thinking the same thing. Yeah, seriously. Just take out the O, make it Aerosmith, and that would probably work, because it's a stand that, that flies in the air,
Right, and I still say Mrs. Stan, like, instead of going from Sex Pistols to Six Bullets, I still say they should have just called it Pistols. Because, that's what he calls them. Like, he doesn't, like, half the time he calls them by the full name, but a lot of times you hear him, he just calls them Pistols. So it's like, why not just stick with Pistols? That's like, son of a bitch! It's like, you're telling me we could have had things like that where, like, literally take off one letter and that bypasses the copyright?
The consistency is just great.
It's like, these fucking stand name changes,
It's like no serious. It's like no seriously. It's like first, okay. it's like, oh my god, it's like this correlates to consistency we've had throughout very small moments throughout this entire freaking part or whatever. It's like, okay, we see Doppio vomiting, blood and razor blades or whatever, but once again, because I cannot stress this enough, they feel the need to censor out a little gash in Giorno's foot when he was fighting Babyface. And now we get this, where they take out the A in Metallica and make it metallic to avoid the copyright, when they could have done the exact same thing with other names. It's like, what? It's like,
I know.
Why?
What is this? What is your logic? I don't even.
I mean.
And it's like, again, most of these name changes I don't mind. But, I've made it very well known that some of these name changes I just think are so fucking stupid. It's like Zipperman and Little Bomber. I cannot stand those name changes. And it's like, are you seriously telling me that we had an easier way out?
Oh my god.
I'm probably overthinking this, but still, it's like, god damn it, man.
Yeah, it's like, I'm pretty much the same way. It's like the majority of these stand names, it's like, okay, the changes, to avoid the copyright, it's like, okay, a lot of them I can get behind, because they make sense, or they're like, okay, I can tolerate this. But this one, it's like, yeah, it makes sense, but at the same time, I have to say, okay, guys, you are really stretching it with this one. I'm just saying.
All I know is there better not be any more ridiculous fucking stand name changes after this.
Oh my god!
I mean, there's still some stands that we haven't seen yet. It's like, they better not be fucking ridiculous.
Oh.
Or Japan, we're gonna have a little talk.
Oh man, I don't know. Something tells me that we're not even done with the obscure stand name changes. As much as I hate to say it, something tells me we're not done just yet.
I know.
So please, David Productions, by all means, prove me wrong.
Alrighty. Okay, so with that said, I'm trying to think. Is there really anything else that we can talk about for episode Doppio?
Nah, I mean, thinking about it now, I think we're good on Doppio for now.
Alrighty. Okay, so, I hope you guys got a kick out of this episode as much as we did. And we will see you all next week for the remainder of the Metallica fight.
Alright, we'll see you guys then.